everyone, Paul ISM. Welcome to part 2 of our Tamiya 124 Ford Mustang GT4 video build. Before we get going today, the usual message, please have a listen to this. So, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the little bell notifications, get notified of all our latest videos. Click the like button and leave a comment. I do read and reply to all the comments and appreciate everybody that takes the time to leave a comment on the channel. And of course, if you scroll up in the description, there's a link to a big long list of all the items I use in my videos. So if you see anything, you should be able to find it in there. So we're back, part 2. We got all the bodywork done the last part. We've still got one more to do after this one, and that will be the conclusion of the build. Today we're going to focus on all the running gear, the wheels, the chassis, interior, seats, seat belts. A lot to do. As I say in the video, this was filmed over about 5 different days. It took a lot of work to do, and it was getting a little bit tedious near the end, and I was starting to lose kind of interest a little bit. But we got through it. It looks okay, and like I say, now we come back in part 3, get it all put together. Everything is painted by the end of this video. It's just assembled at the end, and hopefully in part 3 we'll end up with a beautiful Volt GT4 Mustang. Now, it's a short video today. I managed to condense it all right down because I've said before, you don't want to see 20 minutes of me priming parts. That is just boring as hell. I could pad out this video to an 8 build video series so easily, but you don't watch that, and I don't want to sit there filming that or voice over and try to pad it out because there's no need. We're here for the enjoyment of the build and the video. I'm not here trying to, subliminally sell products to anybody out there. It's just, it's for the enjoyment of the hobby. You can buy this kit from us. Like I say, you don't have to. There's no subliminal advertising or blatant advertising here. I don't think. I think we're pretty good on what you want to buy or don't buy. But it's a good kit, and I think it's going to look beautiful when it's all painted up at the end. So without any more waffle, let's jump straight in and get to work taking some of the parts off the sprues. So then, let's start by taking off some parts using our wonderful Tamiya side cutters. Then we'll clean them up and get them all mounted for primers. There's a lot of parts to clean up on this, so we'll remove them all with the Tamiya cutters. We're then going to clean them up using a UMP 400 thinny stick. Then we'll come in with the 800. And then we'll come in with our buffer and polisher. So we're using the lower grades of sanding sticks, then the buffer, remove all those sprue points with no bother at all. On any flat surfaces, we're using a 400 customizable sander cut to size, and then the buffer, making life a lot easier for ourselves. So we've got the engine to glue together. We're using some Tamiya Extra Thin. This is my 50-50 mix with EMA Plastic Weld, or Plasti Weld. So just let the capillary action glue it all together. Now, there are a lot of components to this, and I mean a lot. So we're not going to sit here all day and look at every part cleaned up because that would be immensely boring. So we're just going to focus on a few bits and then get them mounted up for painting. So like I say, we're going to end up with a full chassis running gear parts and the interior all ready to paint up, various different colours, and then we're going to assemble it all in this video. So there we go, some careful gluing, a little bit of a squeeze to get it together. In a newer Tamiya kit, even the older ones, they fit together absolutely fantastic, no issues at all. So just give it a little bit of gentle pressure, make sure it's fully glued all the way around, then we'll put it to one side to dry. Once we're happy with it, we can then mount it ready for priming. And there we go. It's a great kit, this. It really is a nice kit. It has been one of those ones that seems to have taken forever to do this video. This has been filmed probably over about 5-6 days. And it just seemed to take a long time to get through all the parts. A little bit fiddly in places, but a great kit nonetheless. Like I say, we have a lot of parts. This is all just the running gear. Never mind the chassis and the interior tub and the roll cage are already done. They're all cleaned up, mounted and ready for primer. And now we've got all the exterior parts. So we've got the door cards, we've got vents, the seat, dashboard, front rear diffuser, splitters, any trim at all. And they're all cleaned up in the exact same way and mounted for spraying. UMP primer, black, through the apex, 0.35, 25 psi. A couple of light coats. Again, we're not going to linger too long. Several parts to prime on each holder. Our wheels, we're going to prime in UMP black primer as well. Wasn't completely decided about the colour at this point, but we did a little bit later on. A couple of careful coats from every angle, including from the back. Tamiya LP5, so this has been mixed about 70-30 with a lacquer thinner retarder. We've got our apex, 3.5 needle again, 18 psi. The primer's been allowed to dry overnight, as I always do. And we're just going to come in and give everything a couple of light coats again. Being lacquer, you can go a little bit heavier should you wish. We're not hosing it on, but we get good coverage. Having a black primer down already, the semi-gloss black covers really quickly and gives a really nice semi-gloss sheen. So plenty of parts to paint. We've got some AK Extreme matte aluminium now, or aluminium, or aluminum if you're American. We're going to give this a couple of coats. This is great stuff. It's an enamel paint. It must have some sort of additive in it to make a dry cooker because it dries super fast. And I'm just going to give all the parts that need a metal coat a quick go over. So we've got some Mr. Hobby Super Metallics. This is the titanium with a little bit of gold added to it to make a little bit of a more goldish colour. I like that look on the exhaust. As you can see, they've got the two colours down there, and they're thinned with the Rapid Mr. Hobby thinner. Now, we've got several parts here we want to carbon. We're going to start with the interior, and we'll save all the really awkward parts for the next video. I know they're awkward because I've already started doing them. So door cards are going to get it. This is some of the cheaper carbon fibre material decal sheets. I can't remember who makes them. I think it's Fuel Me that I had knocking around. I thought I'd use them on the interior. You can't see it as much. It's not as good a quality as Scout Motorsport, but it's not too bad at all. So we cut the sheet to size. We're hitting this with UMP normal solution and then put it to one side for 5-10 minutes. Then we come back and put another coating on it. And then we put it aside for another 5 to 10 minutes and put another coating on it. Slowly catch your monkey on this one. After a while, it'll start to really soften up the decal. You don't want to rush this because you want to be able to do this with it, which is manipulate it around all the corners. We could hit it with a strong or extra strong straight away and it would set it, but when we went to do this, it would probably just fall apart. So take your time doing this. You can see I'm working on both parts at the same time. Once we've conformed all the edges, we'll then come with our brush and burnish it all down to get it all smooth and all air bubbles gone. Get it recessed into all those panel lines and gaps and door handles, and just keep working at it. Once we get it in there, then we can hit it with the strong to finally set it in place. But whilst you're trying to work it, use the least powerful solution you can. It might take a little bit longer. As you can see, I'm working on both parts. The top one's just sat there. It's got a bit of solution on it, waiting. And these two parts probably took about half an hour to do. Leaving them 5-10 minutes and coming back, brushing them again, leaving them, and just letting it slowly work its magic with the decal. And as I say, you can really manipulate it into place then. Don't rush it because it will bite you in the backside and you'll be back cutting off more parts. And when using the Scale Motorsport stuff, pieces like this that you waste are not cheap. So take your time, be a bit patient, and let the decal solutions do the work. So there we go. Happy days. We're happy that's all conformed in. What I'm doing now is I've got a moist cotton bud and I'm just running it gently all around the edge just to make sure it's all in those recessed edges. There's no air bubbles. Any raised detail is showing. And there we go. We've done the same to the dashboard, center console, and in front of the glove box. And then we've got the Tamiya kit decals to go in place. So there's a center console of all the buttons, etc. A little one to the left, and then one just on the right hand side of the dashboard itself. Popped in place as usual and hit with the strong UMP decal solution because I know they need them, being Tamiya decals. And there we go, there's all the interior parts ready for paint. We've had to mask off the back of the interior tub. The inside's already painted in white. We did that in the last video. And then we've got LP5, same mixture we used before. Same airbrush, UMP Apex, 0.35 needle, 18 psi. And we're going to give this a couple of light coats. We don't want to flood it. We don't want to try and get it all covered in one go. And then we can work on some of the exterior parts. Again, primed UMP black, they've been left overnight. Wheels, left overnight UMP black primer. I decided on Tamiya LP20 gunmetal. My references showed it seems to be the most common colour wheel on the car. Plus it looks a bit more interesting than black. So thin 70-30 with the Mr. Hobby rapid drying thinner, which works better for metallics. 18 psi through the 0.2mm apex this time. We're going to give this several light coats, not hosing it on. The thinner we put this on, the better. And the idea of using the rapid thinner is there's no retarder in it, dries a lot faster, is the metallic flakes stay suspended and give a more metallic finish. That is the theory behind it. I've only just started using it and it seems to work very well. You can get it from us at umpretail.com, so head on over there, as well as the leveling thinner and the Tamiya lacquer thinner retarder. Now our seat, we have some textured black paint from Zero Paints. We've got our Apex 0.2 again, 24 psi I think this one was, 24-25 psi. Now Zero Paints, you normally need to be careful and do really nice light thin coats because it can affect the plastic. Now this is a textured paint, it has stuff in the paint, and I've hosed it on purpose to give the look that I want. So the texture adds a bit of depth, and hosing the paint on adds a bit more as well. So it's not the way it's supposed to be sprayed, but it's the way I do it. Decals for the seats. We've got a few decals for the single seat in here. A couple of Sparkos, a couple of others in there. So again, we're applying them like usual. They've been in water, popped on, dried, hit with the UMP normal solution. Just left to sit and mop up any excess so it doesn't dry and leave any watermarks behind. Nice and simple, quick and easy. It's not a bad seat, not the most interesting. Steering wheel, a couple of decals here as well. One on the instrument panel too. And again, same process, decal on, mop up any excess water, hit up the UMP strong. Any Tamiya decals, in my opinion, need the strong. But as always, if you're not sure, start with the normal and work your way up. And there we go. There's all the parts painted and ready for assembly in my nice little storage box. All nice and safe in there. Keeps it out of the way, keeps all the parts tidy, nothing gets lost. And you can shut it over and it's all safe. Now, seatbelts. As you can see, Tamiya supplies the decal seatbelts. You can use those should you wish. You can do the other method, the cut around them and use them on the cardboard. Or what we've got here is some blue ribbon. We've got some double-sided tape and a Studio 27 photo etch seatbelt set. Now they're quite difficult to find these. I tend to find Spot Model has them in stock. If I remember, I'll put the number in the description down below. If not, I think it's in the description of all the parts, products I use in my videos. I'm pretty sure the product code is in there. So a couple of buckles to do. In our folder, so we pop them in, fold it up 90 degrees, job done, spin it round, do the same again and repeat for each one. Again, nice and quick and easy. Cut off some ribbon. I use the photo etch shears for this. They work well on the photo etch and the ribbon. We cut it at an angle. I have a full video on making these. It's in the Subaru Techniques guide. We're not going to cover it all here. They are fiddly, and as I always say, you'll either get it right first time, or like this, it ends into a right farce of trying to get things through there, it falling back out, you're dropping the bits, repeat, so on, etc. They can be fiddly. The effort is worth it. It can take a while to do. Once you've made a few, it becomes a lot easier, trust me, and the look is well worth the effort. So it's a case of putting them through in a specific order. You do get instructions with the PE. A bit of double-sided tape. Don't use CA glue. It tends to bleed through the ribbon. Decent double-sided tape, like this 2mm stuff from eBay. Again, I think all this is linked in the description of the video of all the products I use. Everything you'll see me using in these videos is in there. And get rid of that angle piece. Bit of double-sided tape on. Fold it over, job done. And thankfully, only one set of belts in this. Because when you've got two, it does get tedious. So like I say, there's a full video on this in the Subaru Techniques video. Again, if I remember, I'll pop a link in the description so you can go watch the whole thing. But it's pretty straightforward. And like I say, when you've done one or two, it becomes second nature to do and really, really easy. And there we go, there's one part done. It's about another 15 to do, and away we go. As you see, I've got various sets there that I'm trying to use up of all different parts. We've popped one belt through, that's already stuck in place. So make sure you get the right way around. Bit of double-sided tape on the seat. Bring it down, line up the buckles so they're roughly on the same height. And then push back, push down the tweezers. And there we go. There's the rear parts done. You've just got the sides, 2 of those, and the front to do, and you're all good. So this is the next morning now because my battery died on my camera and all the other 4 were dead. So we did one part at night, came back the next day. And we've got the 2 side pieces to do. So similar method, ribbon through, using the 2mm ribbon on the side pieces because they are often thinner. As you can see, we cut the ribbon on an angle so it gives the impression it's going through the seat. You could drill the seat out should you wish as well. And we just cross them over like they've been laid down on the seat and then put our front piece on. And there we go. Now we've got some Sparco harness, well, the other pads really, the markings on the belts. So we're popping them on, usual decal process. Pop them in place. Job done. Then we're coming with some extra strong. Now the trick of this is brush over it. Make sure you're happy you've got the whole thing covered and then leave it the hell alone. After that's dried for a couple of hours, we'll then come back in with some Mr. Hobby leveling thinner on a micro brush. And what we're going to do is going to touch this, not go over it again. So the decal solution has put the decal in place. And what this is going to do now is melt the decal into the belt and make it look like it's part of the fabric. It works well. You just got to be very careful. And as you can see, they're now well and truly melted in there. And they look not too bad. Not too bad at all. Got a little bit of stray fabric there we can get rid of. But overall, not too bad at all. Chassis. Now, we detail painted up the chassis. Some of it in silver. Some of it in black. Sadly, most of it will be covered. But we know it's there, don't we? And we've got all the chassis components to assemble. Again, we're not going to linger on every single part. We're just going to go through the whole process, follow the instructions from step 1 all the way forward. So as always, it's like the reverse. We do the bodywork first and then come in and do this because I find it so much easier. But all these parts have been sprayed, detail painted, in the appropriate colours. A little bit of research helps. Polycaps in for the rear hubs. A little bit of CA glue around the edge and then the appropriate disc on. They can only go on one way. They all have little locating lugs on them. Make sure they are orientated the right way. Loctite Perfect Pen. Absolutely brilliant super glue. One of my favourites for putting car assemblies together underneath. It's just the pen's very handy. It's a nice thick gel that not only grabs parts pretty decently, allows you to work with them as well. So you've got several areas here you've got to be careful of. One of them's not quite lined up. It's that right suspension strut. So we grab our tweezers, just give a little push over, and there we go. Job done. That's that glued in place. Like I say, loads of parts to go on, so we're not going to linger. We're going to get through them all pretty quick. So there's the front suspension strut. We've got the front subframe as well. So what I did on this was glued it in place first and then gently lifted it up at the edge to pop it in place. And there we go, job done. And there we go, there's the other one. Steering rack / arm now. So we feed it through. Look at the instructions for your reference. And then feed it through to the side and click it in place. There we go. Exhaust system. Again, all these parts are test fitted before I commit to gluing as well. Everything is test fitted before committing to glue. Interior parts now. There we go. All pretty straightforward. Now this is my weakest point on the cars. The interiors, they never interest me all that much. and I have skimped on a few parts of this where I could have paid a bit more attention. And I think in future I'm going to start paying a little bit more attention to the interiors. It's at this stage, I know I'm at the closing stages here. All the hard work's done. So I do tend to rush it here now to try and get it built. Seat in place, careful application of the CA glue again. We've left the belt excess material on because we don't know where it's going to go yet. Some Vallejo Model Air silver on a microbrush to paint up our pedals. Pop the roll cage in. Excuse the bin wagon if you can hear that. Dashboard, instrument panel, seat belt in. Center console, which is all carboned up as well. Some CA glue for the locating points of the cockpit tub. So one either side, and look at the back where it locates, and it looks like it just sits on those little panels there. So we applied a generous amount. Pop it in place, make sure it's all located correct. Then the dashboard clips in, well not clips in, but pushes over that center console. A little bit of glue in there again. Make sure it's all lined up properly. Then our door cards. One each side, careful application. And there we go. Tamiya black panel line wash. We're going to give everything a wash underneath. Every single part we get a wash, then we'll come back and remove it later on. Wheels. So these have been painted and left to dry for a few days. We'll cut them off the sprues. Our tyres on. There are front and rear wheels. The tyres are the same. And the Blue Stuff Vault does need these decals on, so line them up. Use the spokes in the wheel to line them up so they're both straight each side. Like so. Standard decal procedure, get them on, remove the excess fluid, and then we're going to hit these with the normal UMP decal solution again. So again, take your time here, make sure they are lined up. They're quite a focal point on the car. And again, when you hit it with the cotton bud, make sure you haven't moved it again. It's very, very easy to remove decals. Mop up all the excess water or microset, wherever you've got under there. If you're not happy, give it a final move into position. What we'll do here is we'll get all four on and then come back and hit them with the decal solution to get them set in place. Highly recommend our decal solutions. They work absolutely fantastic. Developed by myself. They work absolutely brilliantly. So again, some careful application, leave it be, let it all dry, and then we've got a bit of Vallejo silver again to do our road wheel studs, nuts, whatever you want to call them. So put a dab on, we dab onto the nut, and then a bit of clean up on all those washers. So cotton bud, a little bit of odorless mineral spirits, and then we can pop our wheels in place. So the wheels may come off because I may change the caliper colour. I thought it was a little bit too light myself, so we'll see about that. But I couldn't resist popping the body on just for a quick test fit to see how it looked and how it sat on those wheels. And there we go. We're still going to polish all this body up. This is just how it came out the airbrush. And the light is fading the fluorescent yellow a little bit, but she looks good. We can pop the spoiler on very quickly. There we go. So we'll be back for the next part very, very soon. There we go then. Part 2 over and done with. As I said, interiors are my weak point. It's probably the part I find the least interesting. I know I'm getting to the end of the build and I've got a terrible habit of rushing them. This one looks alright. There's a few I just skimped on. I could have added some wiring quite easily. I got reference pictures from my buddy Alan. Thank you, Mr. Parker, who sent me the pictures. And I don't think it's out of laziness. I think it's out of trying to get the build done. It was dragging on. I probably had about 5 days worth of work here, on and off, working on it, picking on it. I had a nightmare with the carbon, which you haven't seen yet. It's in the last video, so we're going to have to re-strip that probably and start again. So yeah, it was getting a little bit tedious near the end, and I know I'm near the end of the build now. We've got one more video, probably a couple of days worth of work, and it's done. And it's going to look great, I hope. It's a great looking scheme. Once we flat back that paintwork, give it a good polish up, it's going to look really, really good, all being well. and then we can crack back on with the Impala. Now, I don't know if to do the second part of the Impala or do the third part of the Mustang and get it done, and then we can focus on the Impala then. I haven't decided. I will do it in the next couple of days. But if you've got any comments, suggestions or feedback, pop it in the description down below. I have put a couple of questions up on my Paul ISM page lately, like where did you find me, where did you find the work, anything you'd like me to build, and I have listened, and I will chat about that in my next bench update, which will hopefully be when this GT4 is finished, so hopefully in a few days, touch wood, all going well. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed today. It's only a short video. Everyone's probably like, thank God. But like I say, no point lingering around, see millions of parts painted. It's boring. I don't want to see that, and I'm guessing you don't out there either. So straight in, show one or two pieces done, and away we go. So there we go. So you might see the Impala next, or you might see this finished next. I don't know. I'm going to decide in the next couple of days, and we'll see where we go. I think we're going to try and get the Mustang done, to be honest. That's what I want to do. So as always, check out the Jessica Modeler Facebook page and forum. Check out umpretail.com as well. You can buy nearly everything I've shown in these videos. There's a link in the description that links to nearly every product I show. It does need updating in places, so I do plan to go through and do that as well. Check out my Paul ISM Facebook page as well. All my personal model work is shared. And check out the Off Air Hangout group and the Live at the Bench page for the Off Air Hangouts and the Live at the Bench shows as well. All these links are in the description down below, as well as our big list of products. And I'll try and put in there the Subaru video with a link to the seatbelt harness PE as well. Thanks for watching today, everyone. I will catch you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.